Good evening, everyone, and welcome to COCA's Teal Stories of Hope. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Jaclyn Allen. I'm with Denver 7. I'm in the Denver 7 newsroom right now, and I'm so excited to join you tonight here as your host for this wonderful event. In years past, we have gathered in person for the fabulous Teal Gala, and I have to say, we hope we're going to be able to do that again next year. I know you guys feel the same way. And while I love that event and the opportunity to talk with you guys in person, look at your festive teal attire, I love the hats and the outfits. I know that this program tonight is going to be so special. We're about to embark on an evening of storytelling. We'll hear stories of hope, stories of resilience, and stories of support and of community. Our guides on this journey are 9 amazing ovarian cancer survivors. Each of these women have fought an incredible battle. They've come through it with grace. And along the way, they have gained insights and wisdom that now govern the way they live. I promise you guys are going to be uplifted, inspired, and filled with your own hope after hearing these women's stories. This evening is also about supporting and celebrating COCA. So later you're going to hear about the importance of support and community for survivors. COCA provides that support to women diagnosed with ovarian and gynecologic cancers. Host Nikki's Circle support information groups, provide financial and insurance assistance, have an online resource guide filled with vital information, comfort kits for newly diagnosed women. They offer one-to-one mentoring and counseling. And of course, they raise awareness, they provide education. Now, equally important is the community that COCA provides. Cancer, and particularly gynecologic cancers, can be isolating and overwhelming. There's a sense that no one understands what you are experiencing and how you feel. And for some, there is a reluctance to discuss a disease that affects female organs. Well, COCA has created a community of women who know that what women are going through. They understand women's pain, their fears. They're committed to supporting all of those who come through their doors. This extends to caregivers as well. Now, I have been involved with COCA for more than 3 years now, and I've been amazed by all of the connections, the empathy, the warmth, and the care that I have seen all of this time from this community. I do want to say that sense of community is important to Denver 7. Our station is committed to elevating the voices of those who work tirelessly to help others. And that is exactly what COCA does. You can see me sharing all of these stories on the weekend. I'm the weekend anchor, and also on Denver 7 Plus on Roku, Amazon Fire, or your Apple TV device. All right, tonight, you have the chance to support COCA and ensure that all of these programs and this community are open to all Colorado women. The silent auction will stay open until 8:30 tonight. Has some amazing items. So visit cocatealstories.givesmart.com. And while you're there, consider making a donation. It will have a profound impact on the lives of many women in our community. And I think it muted me. Did it? Am I back on now? Okay, I'm seeing some okays. Thanks, guys. I'm also hearing some puppy dogs in the background. So I want to take a moment to recognize the generous sponsors of tonight's program. Thank you so much to Clovis Oncology, the University of Colorado Cancer Center, Merck Pharmaceuticals, Natera, and Pharma. I have just a few housekeeping remarks too before we move on to our program. All right, let's all do this together, guys. In the top right-hand corner of your screen, make sure you are in speaker view so you can see whoever's speaking in a larger square. Also, bidding on silent auction items and donating to COCA can be done tonight, right now, at that address I just gave you. It's cocatealstories.givesmart.com. That silent auction, again, it's open until 8:30 tonight. Now, we have a lot of people with us on here tonight, which I'm very happy about. But we may have some technical glitches, like me just muting for no reason just now. I don't know what happened with that. But if your screen freezes, you can stop and start the program again and just refresh the live feed. All right, our entire audience is muted tonight, except for that one dog that was just barking. So to avoid one of those Zoom accidents that ends up going viral, that means we need you to get in the chat box and let us know how you're feeling. I want to hear from you guys. Thank you for all the nice comments that you've already put in there. We also want you to consider sharing your story of hope tonight. If you want to take part, just type a note in the chat box, something simple like "I have a story." That will let us know to unmute you when we get to that part of the program. And feel free to share comments, emojis, just say hi to a friend in the chat feature. We want to hear from you. So where is this magic chat box located for those of you who don't know? If you look at the bottom middle of the screen, you'll see the chat feature. You can just click in there and type away. All right, now let's all get comfortable as our first storytellers share their tales.
When you ask, what does the word hope mean to me? It really means tethering myself to the truth of every moment. And in that, there is so much grace, actually. Even if there is what we call pain, there's also presence. And by being awake to what was really happening, I could start to experience the many miracles that were all over the place. The graciousness of the people who supported me, the nurses, my incredible oncologist team. I mean, the nurses and the docs were certainly part of my support too. And my community was part of my support, the incredible love that poured in.
I am here to say that I am resilient and optimistic and hopeful that this disease is not going to take over my life. I'm going to be somebody that, yes, I have cancer, but it's not going to be me. Cancer is not me, and I am not cancer. And knowing that gives me such amazing energy and a way to live my life, a full, amazing, meaningful life that I'm privileged to have because of the people that have paved the way for me to stand here today. And I would like to hand that to other people. So with hope, I put an acronym with it. It's healing, being optimistic, being perseverance, having great perseverance, and educate. If I can do all those things, that gives me this amazing armor, this amazing ability to handle whatever comes down the pike.
What does the word hope mean to me? For me, hope is finishing my counseling program and working with families who are going through or who will be going through what I have been through. receiving serious medical diagnoses is traumatic for the survivor and diagnosed, as well as their support system and their caretakers. So I think it's something that's calling to me after this experience. I've always wanted to work with families, and I think making space for survivors of any long-term diagnoses, or even those who are diagnosed with terminal illnesses, I want to create space for them and their families. So that's what hope means to me, that I'm going to get over this and I'm going to be able to show up for others like myself.
Remaining resilient is something that I don't often think of day to day, but I have found that COCA has been a very strong support for me and been able to provide me with a lot of help when I needed it most. I've attended a lot of Nikki's Circle and really enjoyed the support and companionship, friendship that I have found in that group. I also have participated in Jody's race every year since my diagnoses, and have really enjoyed being around such a strong supportive community during those times. And I also just find that looking towards my future with my family and our newborn daughter is something that has provided me with a greater strength than I ever thought possible.
When I was first diagnosed with ovarian cancer, there were so many people telling me it's going to be okay. And frankly, that pissed me off. How the heck did they know? It took me years to understand that this was simply their way of coping, their way of telling themselves that nothing was going to change. And they were the only words that they could think of that might make me feel better. But everything was different. My world was turned upside down. And I didn't know if everything would be okay. My husband reminded me that I'm not a statistic. I am an individual. And at that point, I had just as good a chance of surviving as not. So let's decide everything's going to be okay. Let's throw some hope at the situation. This all took place in 1999, long before COCA existed. Fortunately, I was able to connect with a support group of gynecologic cancer survivors. In fact, this group was the spark that started COCA in 2005 with the guidance of our former programs manager, Susan Hess. One of my mentors from the group, Carol, told me, stop mourning the life you thought you had and embrace the one you've got. Pretty wise. She was right, of course. Living in the uncertainty of ovarian cancer was petrifying and utterly useless. Being afraid wasn't going to change anything, so why not embrace hope? I worked to embrace what life presented to me and made the best of my world. I stumbled a lot. I fell down sometimes, but I did my best to look forward. Maybe I would have figured this out all on my own, but I am betting it would have taken me a lot longer if it hadn't been for my mentor and the support group. That's why I'm so grateful that Colorado women have COCA to depend on. Our mentor programs and our Nikki's Circle support groups are there for them. They share stories, they give and receive encouragement, and everyone has a safe place where people really understand what it's like to be on this journey.
Wow. Those women have an incredible story to tell. And I was so moved by just the power of what they were saying. I don't know about you, but I was sort of mentally jotting down reminders about putting things in perspective in my life, because that's what those stories did for me. They gave some perspective to what's going on in my life. And one message each of those women touched on was the power of community. That's what COCA and their Nikki Circle support groups are all about, creating a safe space where you can share whatever's on your mind and know that you will be understood, where you can learn what helped other women and discuss if it might be helpful for you too, and where your story can provide value to someone else who's going through this tough time. Today, with concerns of COVID continuing to keep us close to home, these connections are more important than ever. If you have not attended a support group or a wellness session or connected via COCA's mentoring program, I would encourage you to learn more about these valuable services. You can find descriptions of each of the programs right now on the programs tab of COCA's website. Again, that's calo-ovariancancer.org. We want to take a moment now to give a shout out to the medical providers who are vital members of this community. They listen to their patients' hopes and fears. They work medical miracles to try to eradicate cancer while also ensuring quality of life. And they personally witness the bravery, resilience, and grace of their patients. Each patient that they see renews their commitment, gives them hope that one day soon a screening test and a cure will be found so that women no longer have to suffer. If you would like to spend some time and share a meal with one of the foremost physicians in the field, I encourage you to check out Dr. Guntapalli's and Dr. Baybach's silent auction packages. For now, though, let's return back to the video.
In my journey, I kind of feel like even though I was diagnosed with cancer, I don't feel like it's my cancer. I feel like, chemo is just a chance to go and, sit there for a while, and the cancer is getting out of me. I'm staying at the chemo center, and I'm just, taking that time to let it get comfortable somewhere else, because it's not my cancer, and I'm not going to be defined as someone who, has cancer. I'm me, and like the hope that I have for the future just doesn't really have that cancer anywhere in it. It just has hope. It just has people's generosity, the kindness, the friendships that I've made. I kind of like to concentrate on what cancer has brought to my life instead of what it's taken away.
I fully appreciate that I am incredibly lucky. What does the word hope mean to me? Hope means to me that nothing is impossible. And how do I remain resilient? I believe my resilience stems from me being my own advocate, or trying my best to be my best advocate. For instance, back in 2006, when I called my gynecologist for an evaluation of my mass, I was told that the soonest appointment, or the next available appointment was a month from then. And so then I said, okay, well, please tell me where I should go to have this evaluated, because I can't wait a month. And then I was asked, was it painful? Could I eat? Was I losing weight? And I said, no, I felt completely fine, but this did not this was not right. This needed to be evaluated. If I had not been that assertive and instead elected to wait a month, by the time it was diagnosed, then would I still have been a stage 1? Maybe I would have been a stage 2. And if my stage was elevated, then where would I be today?
A lot of people call cancer survivors brave. I've also heard the term resilient. I've been called brave and resilient so many times. Pre-diagnosis, post-diagnosis, during treatment, post-treatment. And I believe it comes from a good place. I believe it comes that people use these terms because there are very few words that they can use to be supportive when they're so far away. How do I feel about those 2 words? While I was in treatment, I didn't want to hear those words. It was a struggle every day to survive. Just getting through the day, going to bed, and waking up the next day was a win for me. However, now my perspective has changed, and I understand what people mean when they say brave. I suppose I could have fallen apart and not gone to school. I could have given up on everything, but I didn't. And I could see bravery there in myself, in my stubbornness. Resilience, it's another double-edged sword, I feel. I am resilient. I know how to overcome obstacles. I think it's just going to take me a while to change my perspective on that term as well.
A lot of people don't like the word survivor. I get it. Frankly, I felt too often that I just put my head down and did whatever the doctors told me. Was I really a survivor? But I guess I could have given up and given in to despair. I felt it a lot when I was first diagnosed. But I didn't, so maybe I earned the title. I'm deeply grateful to be a survivor. And I feel it's not only an honor, but my duty to do the work I do because I'm still standing. But it has taken me many, many years to get to the point where I can look back and recognize the lessons I've learned. And I've been fortunate enough to learn so much from the wonderful women that COCA serves. Each day there's a new revelation, a new lesson. None of us, whether we are cancer survivors or not, know what's around the next bend. And we've all felt that with regard to the pandemic. Our job as human beings, I feel, is to work to make things as okay as they can be, not just for ourselves, but for those around us as well. At COCA, we have programs that help make things as okay as they can be for survivors and their family members and loved ones. Our Carol's Wish Financial Navigation Program is one great example.
Let me tell you a story about Jenny. She's 70 years old and was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer in 2018. She's a retired business owner with no assets and lives off of $1,217 a month in Social Security retirement benefits. She selected Medicare Advantage when she turned 65, was healthy, and had business income. But with her ovarian cancer diagnosis, the out-of-pocket cost has become unaffordable. Carol's Wish Navigators were able to enroll Jenny in a special Medicare program that helped reduce her monthly costs as well as prescription drug costs, saving her $11,000 a year. Our advocates also found a copay assistance fund to further reduce her out-of-pocket costs.
Thank you so much, Janine, for telling us more about that Carol's Wish navigation program. It is such important work. I cannot even imagine what it would be like to face a life-threatening diagnosis, be told what the best plan of care is, and then learn you can't afford it. That is just not acceptable. We are so fortunate that COCA has experts who can help women navigate these situations, because everyone deserves to receive the best care possible. Now, if you would like to support Carol's Wish and other COCA programs, please consider making a donation on their silent auction site. Again, it's cocatealstories.givesmart.com. And I believe that they put a link to the silent auction in the chat box if you want to check that out. All right, we have heard from some amazing storytellers tonight. And while I heard their sort of ambivalence towards the words resilience and bravery, I think most of us would agree that it takes courage to open your heart, share your soul. Thank you so much for doing that. All right, we have reached the part of the program where we want to hear from you and your stories of hope. So I saw a familiar name pop up in the chat earlier, Hillary Gilfan. Hillary, can you please unmute your microphone? I understand that you are a stage 4 cancer survivor. Congratulations. And when were you diagnosed?
Thank you. I was diagnosed Christmas Eve, 2007.
What an auspicious Christmas Eve.
I know, right? Christmas in the hospital. It was not great.
Oh, well, can you tell us what hope and resiliency mean for you?
Sure, absolutely. Hope, you know, I actually even looked up a definition, and it said to expect with confidence and to cherish a desire with anticipation. And I think that that really kind of encapsulates how I approached being diagnosed. You know, when I was diagnosed, I was alone in the emergency room. It was, you know, kind of every story that, you know, many women have with the bloating and the, you know, all the typical ovarian cancer symptoms. And I, you know, on the Thursday before, I had been in Las Vegas at a conference, and on Sunday, you know, I'm now, you know, a cancer victim. And I had no idea where to turn, where to go, where to be inspired and to have hope. And COCA was really that light for me. The Nikki Circle, when I came into my first Nikki Circle support group and I saw other women that were going through what I was going through, that's where the hope started. Meeting women like Janine, who was a long-term survivor even back then. You know, I had never met anybody that had survived ovarian cancer. And, you know, being around these women, being able to talk to them, say, you know, what did you ask your doctor? You know, what did chemo feel like? What did you do about this symptom? What did you do about neuropathy? Going to my very first Jody's race and seeing the women with multiple strands of survivor beads and saying to myself, I want to be like them. And I think that's where the resilience comes in. I wanted to be like those women. I wanted to have multiple strands of beads around my neck and feel like I had the resilience and I had the courage and I had the power and the hope to survive what I was going through. And
those
I think,
beads mean something for women who are going through this, huh? I remember seeing those and thinking, wow.
I said, if my house was on fire, there's among the things that I would save, obviously, you know, my wife and my pets, but my survivor would be one of the things that I would grab on the way out. They mean that much to me because of what they stand for. And so, you know, Nikki Circle was a huge part of where my hope sort of came from, that I could be like those women, that I had the potential within myself to survive this. Wow. And I want women to know that even though it's a new normal, some of my best days have been post-cancer. You know, I met the love of my life. We got married. We built a house. We've traveled. I've had a successful career. So it is, you know, it is well within your right to expect, you know, that to cherish a desire with anticipation, to expect with confidence that some of your better days are still way ahead of you, and that you should hope and have, you know, faith that you can achieve those things.
What a journey, Hillary. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who's sharing a story tonight. Unfortunately, we don't have time to share any more live stories, but I want to encourage all of you to share your stories often with your exercise class, your book club, that friendly barista who comments on your Teal bracelet or your scarf. Every recorded story tonight will be archived on the COCA website. If you want to record your story and be included, please reach out to Janine at calo-ovariancancer.org and you can get started. There is power in your words, both the power to educate so that another woman may catch her cancer sooner, and the power to inspire someone who may be struggling. We all have something valuable to share, so let's all vow to become our own storytellers. We've talked a lot about support and community tonight, and key to both of those are caregivers. For many of you who are in the midst of a life-threatening disease, it's the caregiver who keeps hope alive. They provide comfort, love, nourishment, companionship, but most importantly, they keep those embers of our dream alive. They encourage us to anticipate a hopeful outcome that includes those dreams. In our next video, we will hear from a mother and a spouse who traveled this journey with a loved one and helped keep hope alive.
Hi, my name is Kinso Tin. I'm the mother of Panyo, a cancer survivor, ovarian cancer survivor. How she exemplified hope. She never once lost hope, remained positive, and never once gave in to defeat. Despite being on her own for the first 3 months, while I waited for my visa to be approved. Once I got there, I was with her, and she maintained the same positivity, cheerfulness. To me, hope is to cherish a desire with much anticipation. The role I played in helping my daughter, I made sure I was at the end of the phone 24 hours, 7 days a week, anytime she needed to speak with me until I got to her. And when I was with her, I make sure she had a lot of time and space on her own. And I anticipated what she would need, what she would like to eat, and made sure she was well cared for. Now that I'm back in the Philippines, we make sure we speak twice a day, and we recite prayers together and discuss things for the day.
Back in 1999, we were looking to try to move home to Denver, and it was about that the day that Janine was diagnosed with ovarian cancer was the day that I got a job offer. So that meant moving back home, starting a new job, doing all the unpacking, working with a parent who's going through, mom was going through a recurrence of breast cancer, and then Janine going through treatment for ovarian cancer. I wouldn't recommend doing all those things at the same time. Yeah, it was very stressful. What I found though is that there's a lot of things that I thought were important. They really weren't important anymore. It's like my world narrowed down to about 10 inches wide, something like that. And what mattered were things like, you know, getting up in the morning, taking care of things like making sure there was, you know, had food, the laundry was taken care of, appointments were kept, medications were on time, all those sort of critical things, the things that really mattered. And in going through and doing that, I found that we don't know exactly what's going to help. Every one of those things, every act was a way for me to say, I love you. And that mattered more, so that whether something was helpful or not, long run, it didn't matter as much, because what mattered is they knew that they were loved. After going through that, Janine has persevered, and my mother passed away. But both of them knew they were loved through words and through deeds. And every day, when we get up, we go through things, we do what we can for our loved ones and ourselves. It's a way of saying, I love you, and that is the hope. Because again, we don't know what's really going to help or not, but we know that what matters is telling the people around us that they're loved. Now, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. There's going to be happiness and joy and wonderful things, and there will also be loss, and there's going to be grief. And we know that. It's just part of the human condition. I don't know exactly what it's going to be like. What I do know is that I'll approach it with giving gifts of love, telling people I love them. And I also know something about me after going through all this, from what I've learned, is I shall be resilient. You will too. You faced a lot. So what I'm talking about is really nothing that special or different about me or what I've seen with Janine. Rather, it's part of who we are by just going through life. So do remember that you are resilient and you're strong, because you've gotten to this point. So you've got some skills. So I wish you well. Stay resilient.
Ooh, you guys, I'm crying, you're crying. Oh my goodness, Patrick. That was amazing. I cannot say enough for Care Partners. I am fortunate. I have a loving family and group of friends that support me, keep hope alive no matter what I'm facing. I hope you do as well. So let us all remember tonight to say thank you to our number one caregiver. For me, that's my mom. My husband, who's at home with my daughter, Mabel, right now. I'll say happy Diwali to him. And to everyone, all of my Southeast Asian friends right now, happy Diwali. All right, ovarian cancer is a difficult diagnosis because there's no screening test. It's too often found at a late stage. In fact, it is the 5th leading cause of cancer deaths in women. We can help change those statistics by talking about this disease. We help to educate others about the symptoms so that they will see a doctor if they have early warning signs. And that is so important. When ovarian cancer is found in an early stage, up to 90% of women will survive 5 years or more. 90%. Now that is a number we can be hopeful about. And that is why we are so thankful to all of the women who have shared their stories tonight, and thankful to the many brave warriors who've come before us. Their words and their work has saved lives and made possible many of the programs that COCA offers. That is their legacy, and it is a powerful one. On this next video, you will see many familiar and much loved faces who've traveled the journey before us. We cherish our memories with them and honor the legacy they created.
Another bit of advice is to get involved in the Cancer Society. I waited probably 2 years after my chemo was completed before I got involved with the Colorado Ovarian Cancer Association. I just had some denial. I didn't want to be a part of COCA. I didn't want to know COCA. I just wanted the whole cancer piece of my life to just fade into background and disappear. But by joining COCA, I've learned so much. I feel like I have a resource in the event that anything happens. I know that I have all my friends at COCA to help me. To have gone through what I've gone through, and to go to Jody's race and walk around City Park and see other survivors, we've all stood in the same shoes. It's just an amazing sort of sisterhood we have, right? And it also gives me the opportunity to give back in a tiny way. I feel such a connection there, and I feel so grateful for COCA.
And I express my gratitude to the Colorado Ovarian Cancer Alliance for helping me, especially with my finances, because the fear of poverty it can be debilitating emotionally, and ovarian cancer is a devastating cancer.
I wish for you a bright future. Stay hopeful. You have a wonderful support group here, and I just love it. So that's sort of my story, that you have sort of a purpose and a goal. Keep going. Hope is in the future. Plan for it. And remember Emily Dickinson's little poem. In fact, I'll read it. I think I do better reading it. And it's longer than we usually think of it. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the song without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in eternity it asked a crumb of me. Bye for now.
What words of advice do I have for other survivors? Take each day, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. I always say every day is an adventure because I don't know what my body's going to be doing, what I'm going to be able to eat, what I'm going to be able to stomach, what side effects I'm going to have. Having little projects really helped. So if that's something that you enjoy doing, whether it's writing, blogging, vlogging, getting out of bed, taking a shower, arts and crafts, anything that can spark passion in you, I would say tap into that and lean on it heavily. Asking for help is really hard. It was very difficult for me. And it was difficult for me to accept help. But it's something that's okay to do. As hard as it is, There will be days when you need help.
We don't wish this on anybody, and it is certainly nobody's fault. We live in an incredibly toxic world. There's so much complexity, including our genetics and so many factors that can converge that can create a climate that fosters cancer in our body. And so be gentle with yourself and really be discerning. That which feels good around you, let it come in. Thank you. And that which feels dissonant or disrespectful or too much fear or too much of the wrong stuff, this is your time to really practice saying no. No, absolutely not. And focus on what you love and cherish, like we need to do every day now. It's not just those of us who had or have the cancer call, it's all of us. Life is precious. And so to savor the days that food does taste good, which weren't a whole lot, but to savor the sweetness of a connection with a loved one, and even the sensations of what we call pain, so that we can really open even more to what we call pleasure.
But don't spend all day researching and don't spend all day in the discussion blogs. You need to find balance. So, spiritual health, psychological health, palliative care, and just balance are really important. And I pray that this information helps you. I pray you do well, and God bless you. Thank you. Bye bye.
And my last bit of advice is to live one day to the next. The sun comes up, the dog needs to be walked, work needs to be done, and then you go to bed and then you start over again. But then also look ahead, make plans, look to the future, pursue dreams.
My advice for fellow survivors is to continue to live each day to the fullest. This is just one chapter in your story. This isn't your forever. And to just try and stay positive and focused on your future and continue to live the life that you had envisioned for yourself.
I wish I could turn back time and be gentler with myself. And I wish I would have realized sooner how much I would gain from being of service to others. My advice to survivors is do all you can to turn outward. Care for yourself, of course. Find what gives you joy and do that. But also get outside yourself. That's where life is. Show empathy and compassion. Open yourself up to new experiences. In other words, do all you can to live. If you need help, reach out. And remember that COCA is here to help survivors with emotional and financial matters. Navigating the landscape of a cancer diagnosis is much easier with someone to lead the way. I encourage survivors to lean on the wisdom of those who have come before them, and do what you can to lead someone else who's coming behind you. Tell your story.
And when the sun is shining and the trees are golden and we can see it and appreciate it, let ourselves bathe in it, because that's nourishment for our cells and our psyches and our souls and our spirit. And we are whole beings. We are not the cancer. It was never mine. It was this thing that was happening through my body, and we were going to help it move along. So in that spirit, let's keep with our disciplines that keep us healthy. And when we slip off, let's hop back on in terms of our eating and our resting and whatever our meditative or contemplative practices are, to stay with them, because the doorway got opened. It became critical for our survival. And now it can allow us to continue to thrive. And I'm always needing to refine how I show up each day. And so let's keep doing that. And may you stay healthy and strong and grounded. And may we stay here together. Thank you.
Well, I promised you a really special evening, and I want to say COCA delivered. These stories that we heard have left me feeling inspired, grateful, hopeful. This is such a powerful community. I am so honored to get to be a part of it. Before we sign off, just one more time, I want to encourage everyone, check out the silent auction at cocotealstories.givesmart.com. You can bid on some truly unique, incredible items, or you can make a donation to help COCA continue offering these valuable programs. Your support is so important to so many women. All right, now I just want to say thank you all for showing up. Thanks for being part of this evening with me. It was so lovely. I love seeing some faces at one event after the next, year after year. So I just want to borrow a phrase we heard earlier from Phyllis. Good night, and I wish you all a bright future. Thank you.